While we try to be as helpful as possible, this podcast should not be considered as professional or financial advice. It contains general information only, and you should seek out professional advice for your own personal circumstances before making any financial decisions.
Alrighty guys, welcome back to the Enthusiast Lab. I'm Julia.
And I'm Nick.
And I'm Ben.
And this is the Enthusiast Lab. Welcome back to another episode of the Enthusiast Lab. Today we have Ben from Hawk Flooring. Thank you so much for coming on board.
Thanks for having me.
And today we are going to be talking about the epoxy or the
resin
flooring that we do in the garages and talking about all that good stuff.
About how we obviously include them in our builds, but also, you know, a lot of the most common frequently asked questions. So like, why go through a company versus DIY? So all the things. So we've got Ben the legend. We'll get to know Ben about a little bit of backstory from you, man, about what the goal is, who the fuck are you, all that, and then we'll get right into it because there's quite a lot that we want to cover.
Sure.
Yeah, so
who the fuck are you?
Yeah, introduce yourself.
So at Hawk Flooring, we've been around for, I'd say, over a decade now.
Yeah, right.
And about 2.5 years back, we... About 2.5 years back, there was another business that existed, and that's how we met, Linex Flooring Systems.
Yes.
So we, I guess, grew through acquisition. We amalgamated the two businesses together a couple of years back, and we've kept the branding of Hawk, kept all the staff of both businesses, and here we are sitting in a podcast room.
Yeah. Fuck it. What about yourself, like, as on a personal level?
Sure.
Like, we
My
like to explain.
dating life?
Yeah, the whole thing.
On a personal level, so my background is flooring. I've been doing it since I was 17.
Yeah, right.
And probably only in the last three or so years gotten off the tools. And it's all I've known. I've run my own businesses, and my role at the moment within the business is to oversee the few flooring businesses that we have, making sure that essentially they're a well-oiled chain, right?
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, killer. So basically the big chief. Or second in line, big chief.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I like that term, big chief.
Yeah, big chief.
Okay, so you covered the first question, which is who is Hawk Flooring and how did they... Oh, no. Who is Hawk Flooring and how did they start?
Sure. So it's interesting because when Hawk Flooring started about a decade back, it was about the same time that I started my own business, and the owner of Hawk and I became really close friends. We met at a training seminar, and we stayed friends all that time. So eventually when I moved to work for Linex, we stayed in touch, and we were actually working a lot with each other, which is why when he decided to put the business up for sale, he approached us. Because I guess we'd gone through similar experiences and we understood each other's businesses really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Most of what we do, or a good portion of what we do now, is commercial and industrial floors. Mm-hmm. We still have a portion. We didn't want to completely close off the market to the residential market. So we still look after our good clients like yourself.
Yep.
Big chief. We still look after a portion of the residential market as well. We were just probably a little bit more selective.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Easy.
Perfect.
And just for the listeners who don't know what you guys do, can you give a little bit of a summary of what it is that you guys do?
What are your services?
It depends. There's the quickie, there's the half an hour. So basically what a lot of businesses that are similar to ours and smaller and larger than ours, they sort of stick to a list of services, right? For us, our approach, and I think the direction that I like to give our team is that we're there to provide a solution, and sometimes we can't provide a solution. In those instances, we need to be transparent with the customers.
Yep.
So I'll give you a good example. We'll have, say, a commercial customer that says to us, hey, I've got this project. You guys need to be in and out in one night or 72 hours.
Yeah.
I don't care what it costs. It just needs to happen that way.
Yep.
And we go, cool, give us 5 minutes to think about it. And then we'll come back with a solution. Similarly, we'll have a customer like yourself that goes, hey man, like we sell a shit ton of houses, really cool garages and that's our thing.
Yep.
And we want to be able to offer this service for our customers. They've all got amazing cars, and it's just the finishing touch on the house, right? Yep. But we need someone reliable, and to be fair to you, Ben on his own is not going to be able to provide that, right?
Yeah.
So the luxury, and you guys have experienced this, obviously using us for a little while now, is that we've got teams and dedicated staff. So from the time you guys send through an order to us, we've got an admin team that look after that, make sure that stock's allocated. We've got a warehouse team to make sure that Nick's product is over there. No one else can touch it, right?
Yeah, that's right. No touching.
Yeah. You pay extra for that. and then we've got Ali, who's our ops manager, who essentially does the scheduling. So as soon as you guys say this is the date that it needs to go in, allocates a team to it, to the job, make sure that it's not understaffed, make sure that we're planning well ahead, and then the job goes down seamlessly. And obviously we've been really blessed with some really good feedback from you guys on how efficient we are, and I think like that's something that I'm really proud of our team.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's I guess a little bit one of the advantages of using us. The other thing is probably also storage and buying power. Like you've been to our facility. It's a fairly large facility, and a really nice office in front of it as well. Yeah. So if you guys have customers that you want to send in, by all means, you can use our facility to your advantage and almost use it like a tool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the collaboration between Hawk and Mr. Enthusiast is the resin floors that you put into our garages.
100%, yeah. Yep.
Beauty. So can we have a little chat about what is resin flooring?
Yep, 100%. So quite often people will refer to it as epoxy flooring.
Yep.
And that's not wrong. So the way I like to explain it, and just a quick for dummies, I guess, is epoxy
like
flooring.
Me. Like me.
I wouldn't say that to you, Nick. So epoxy flooring is one of many different resins that you can put down, right? And quite often people will say to us, what's better, what's the best? There isn't really one that's the best. It's what's going to be the best for your application and your situation, right? Epoxy's great, but it certainly has some characteristics that might not suit a lot of applications, particularly garages. So if we've got a lot of UV coming in, light colours in epoxy tend to go yellow, darker colours tend to fade, and it's slow curing. So you want to drive your car on it the next day, you can't, right? Yeah. You've got to wait 5 to 7 days. Then we've got polyaspartic resins, which are UV stable, really fast curing, and perfect for, which is what we use for you guys, perfect for, a heap of sunlight and UV coming in. And then we've got other resins that we use for commercial, and we've got a resin called a methyl methacrylate. We shorten it to MMA because it's a lot easier to pronounce and spell. But essentially we put it down and you're walking on the floor within about half an hour to an hour.
Yeah, wow.
Wow.
So
no room for mistakes there.
Yeah, no, definitely no room for mistakes. And you've got it, like our team have to be extremely trained and thorough with the methods of all the different resins that we put down, right?
Yeah.
One of the benefits with using us is that our entire crew fluctuates between sort of 10 to 12 guys at any one time. They're all full-time. They're all employed by us, so they're not subcontractors, which gives you peace of mind.
Absolutely.
Something, God forbid something, and touch wood, nothing's happened yet, but God forbid something goes wrong in a job and you ring me and you go, Big Chief, something's gone wrong, need you to fix it tomorrow because handover's 2 days from now, right?
Yep.
It's not a case of I'll check with our contractor's diary and let you know when they've got time. It's all right, sweet, you guys are back on site tomorrow.
Yep.
to rectify whatever.
Sort this shit out.
correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing is that we train our own staff. So if anything was to go wrong, typically we know what bad habits either we've given them or that they have already. So we're not guessing whilst trying to troubleshoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it is hard because you've got, obviously a lot of people, we're seeing quite a few companies that, were in the painting business and now they're doing floor applications.
Yep.
And I think a lot of them are actually using some of your materials as well, like your flakes and stuff. But in terms of, they might have their own habits on how they pour the epoxy, the resin first, or how they want to do it, which might not be correct to what you guys would recommend.
Potentially,
for the pathway.
I think, I guess not having my background where I did have to start on my own, man in the van or man with the trailer.
Yeah.
I actually have a lot of respect for the guys that are sole traders or sole operators, because it is very difficult. And to be fair to you, I actually welcome more guys like that to our industry, because it is, I guess to some extent, quite a unique industry where it's not a case of just picking up a paint roller and going ham on it. And where possible, I actually try to encourage and give advice to guys like that, because I was once there, and when I was there, no one wanted to help me. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's, for me, I have a big passion for supporting the industry that we're in, and certainly one of the things that we're looking to do is to upskill our industry, which means upskilling our competitors.
Yes.
But it means that we're going to hear less of that cowboy came out and you fucked my floor.
Yeah.
Because that makes me sad when I hear that. Not because the cowboy was giving it a crack. He just didn't have access to information, right?
Yeah.
So we want to be able to provide and encourage growth within our own industry.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think the most popular question or most common question we have with clients who come to us or other, our followers on Instagram, Facebook, all that is, why would I pay someone to do this for me versus, doing it myself through Bunnings?
Yeah. Those DIY products that you get.
Because there's a big price difference between the two.
100%.
Why pay someone to do it?
Sure. So while I can paint a story of like how much better our products are, how much better our prep methods are in preparing your surface, and how much better looking our guys are that put it down. Essentially what you're paying for is peace of mind, right? Something goes wrong, something fucks up. You can point the finger at someone, right?
Yeah.
You can go, I paid you to do that.
Yeah.
And you didn't do it. Now come back and fix it, right? So that you're paying for peace of mind. And it's similar to me. Like I've built houses before, and I've done a lot of the work there. And when I fuck things up, I've got no one else to point to but myself.
Yes.
And my time is really valuable to me, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm working on my own place, doing my own things, sure, it might be saving that few dollars or many dollars or thousands of dollars paying a contractor, but it means that I'm not earning that in that time that I'm working on my own place, right? So it's just essentially like all those other good things like, great products that we use, skilled applicators, great preparation methods, and we do a lot of R&D and testing ourselves, but it's essentially peace of mind.
Yeah.
That's where what
that's
it comes
almost
down
priceless,
Yeah.
Is the resin that you would get from Bunnings different to the resin that you would get with you guys?
Good question. It is definitely. So to give you an idea, the products from Bunnings and, DIY products aren't bad, right? They're typically marketed in a way that makes it seem almost easier than what it
should be.
It is, yeah. And so customers will, quite often just pressure wash their floors out, put a product down, and then it delaminates after, you do some skids, you come in, your wheels are hot, you're turning your wheels and product pops. And we get a call from a customer going, hey, I've put this product down myself. Like the guy at Bunnings, and I'm not rubbishing Bunnings at all, because I think they aren't bad products and they're very well priced. But a lot of it is in not just the material itself, but the preparation method. So the products that you get from Bunnings, they're typically geared for, I guess to some extent, without rubbishing it, your entry-level market, right? You need to seal a floor. You go to Bunnings, even I would, right?
Yep.
But you want a floor that's going to outlive the tyres on your car.
Yep.
The products that we put down are designed for commercial use, industrial use. So forklifts, you got tines from the forklifts dropping all the time. That's what they're designed for. And we don't then go, well, we'll pick a cheaper product for the residential market. We essentially go, you know what, we're already using that for our commercial and industrial customers. Let's just use the same thing, because then it's pain-free. We don't have to think twice that a product's going to fail or a floor's going to fail, and we use the same products for our residential customers.
Yeah, right. And that's a big one, because I see it in a lot of like workshops. They obviously, it's a big thing, you know, oil spills, fuel spills, diff oil and shit. Like that shit, when it stains, you ain't going to get it out. And a lot of the workshops, like even when I was back doing my mechanic, donkey years ago, all of them. I've got EL. Even back then, like they were always sealed, and you know you'd hear the squeak in theirs and all that with the tires and shit like that. But it was so easy. Like we ever had a spill, just mop it up and keep going. So to be able to bring that, obviously, for people that do want to work on their cars at home, you know, and it comes into like obviously with our partnerships, like these guys and girls that we build these homes for. You know, it's a very big part of, like, it's a big asset for their home. Do you know what I mean? These big garages, and they're very proud of them. So for them to go and put all their pride and joys in, and then all of a sudden, you know, a couple like my drift car, it just sweats horsepower, right? Yeah. But it's going to stain that concrete, and then you move the cars away, it's going to look nasty. Correct. Whereas if you've got it all sealed and protected, just wipe it away, happy days, move on, and it looks nice too. It's not like an eyesore. Yeah, you know. I
think in my 17 years of being in this industry, one of the things I tell customers quite often, because what happens is flooring's typically the last thing you ever do in your house. Your budget's blown by then, right?
Yeah.
But I tell customers, like, you'll spend 20, 30 grand on a bench top that gets a little bit of, you know, traffic from your cutlery, your knives, your chopping boards, whatever. But the hardest traffic surface in your home, which is your floor, you want to skimp on.
Yeah, you want to neglect a little bit. Yeah.
So it changes the perspective a little bit, that for people to actually realise their floors, whether internal or external, so whether it's garage or inside your home, is the most traffic surface and the thing that cops the most.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you really want to invest to protect that asset, like you say.
Yes.
For years to come. Like I imagine that 99% of your clients build because they want to live in there. It's whether it's their first home or it's their third home, they're spending all that money to invest into something that they're going to live in for a while, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of our clients do, like even the most like early first home buyers, they're still in there for 5, 10, up to 15 years. You know, growing into that home. So why not spend a little bit more, get the garage protected. You've got all your cars. It's one less thing to stress about or you have to be embarrassed about, you know, like a lot of enthusiasts, like, you know, that if they're all coming over, you'll catch up, you'll have the garage open, you got all the cars out, you're having a couple of beers or whatever, with all the rides out the front. And having that nice epoxy floored, or fucking epoxy, the resin floor, it's just that little bit of a point difference as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like, fuck, that actually does look nice. Or you do spill something, no worries, man. Just wipe her off. And happy days.
That's the thing, right? Like, people, like, there's a functional purpose to it, but there's also an aesthetic benefit to it too, right? Like, it's all well and good that you seal your floor, but if it looks like a hospital, then you want it to do that, but also look fucking killer at the same time, right?
Dead set.
Okay, we're talking about colours a lot.
Yeah, hold on. Before we get the colours, one more question about obviously I love the DIY. So you did mention about, you know, if it's not prepared right and applicated, that obviously it can bubble and peel and, you know, and dissipate. Because we've had some clients, you know, we've given them the options and they just go, nah, man, we're going to do our own thing, but we've got a commercial grade sealer and all of that, and I'm going to go and get that done. Can you give us a very quick, like 10 seconds breakdown of like how your application was? Because obviously you guys grind the concrete back.
So we're going to give away trade secrets. 100%. I'm joking. Look, so the process is pretty simple, right? Our team get up to, so this is what happens behind the scenes. We receive notification from yourselves that job's ready to go on this date. It gets scheduled in, the material and the product and the flakes all get allocated to, there's actually a a rack for
Yes.
Mr. Enthusiast.
Fuck oath there is.
I saw it yesterday. I didn't know where it was. It gets allocated. A job gets booked in. A team gets allocated.
Yep.
Our ops manager gets in touch with the site super, make sure that everything's all good for the day that we're coming out. Our team rock up between 7 and 7:30. First thing they do is go through, inspect the floor, make sure everything's all good. If there are any issues, let's say hypothetically there's cracks in the concrete, we get notified. We have a chat to the site super, ask them what he wants us to do, and then get cracking with the process. The process basically is dry diamond grinding to start off.
Yep.
All our dust extractors that are attached to the diamond grinders, they match the CFM or the amount of dust that the grinders are putting out, so your garage isn't clouded with dust all the way through. We looked at years ago. We looked at wet grinding, but then you're then left with all this sludge, and you know, if your walls have if you've just had acrylic render on your walls, that's a nightmare. You want to, especially white. So we do everything dry. All our guys obviously using the right respirators to make sure that they're safe. So we look after our guys a lot to make sure that their health is really important to us, because we want them to work for us forever, right? And then
work for me.
Once we finish grinding the concrete, and the reason why we diamond grind even a brand new slab is we refer to it as latents, which is the top part of the concrete. So as concrete cures, moisturizes, and then the weakest part of the concrete sitting at the top, right? So we are grinding that back to create a profile of strong surface for mechanical and chemical adhesion.
Right.
And then we put our primer down, come back the next day, or sometimes even the same day, depending on how big you've designed the garage. Put the base coat down where we're broadcasting the flake into that.
Yep. And
then typically we'll come back the next day and put down that UV stable top coat to protect it. There'll be a small amount of non-slip additive in there as well. The non-slip additive that we use is, I guess it's coarse enough to create slip resistance when the floor's wet. So you come in on a rainy day, car's dripping, mud guards are dripping, and you don't go arse up, right?
Yes.
But it's fine enough that it doesn't catch dirt as you're walking through.
Yeah. Sweet. Perfect.
Beauty. And how long are the guarantees? How long does it last with you guys?
Sure. It's a good question. So our warranties, we cater for all our clients depending on what their needs are. So say, for example, our standard commercial warranty for, let's pick, a hydraulic company comes to us and wants us to do their workshop. Our standard warranty is a 2-year warranty. Then we've got clients like in the mining sector that will say, we want an infinite warranty, right? And we go, no worries. It's basically the way we set it up. It's almost like a subscription, and it's catered to what they need. They need to make sure that floor lasts forever. So they get us to come back every 12 months, and whatever maintenance work is required, we'll pick up on it. And then, but that doesn't come free, I guess, because that's a service that we offer, right?
Yep.
But it offers them that peace of mind. And similar to yourselves, we cater the warranty to suit our customers' needs.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep.
And we have our own exclusive warranty for all of our Mr. Enthusiast clients. Retail would have the generic, the 2-year.
Yep.
But yeah, obviously with our discussions and with the partnership we have, all of our clients, they get the fucking gangster shit.
I mean, I chased you for about 1.5 years before you responded to me on
Man, you stalked me when I was at the power line.
Yeah.
With the Ranger. He's like, Spotto. I'm like, who the fuck are you?
Well, you wouldn't. I tried sliding in your
in my DMs
a few times, and then I was like, I got you. So I had to come up with something enticing.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. No, you did.
Yeah.
Nah. And man, I'm glad you kept chasing me.
Yeah.
Forever chasing.
Okay, back to the colours.
Okay, fine.
So let's talk about the colours that you guys offer and what's available for our clients and our listeners.
Yeah. So in terms of base colours, so say you have a customer come in, they go, look, I'm not really interested in flake. I just want to protect my garage floor. Plain grey is fine with me, light grey, mid grey. All the standard colours we tend to carry.
All the grey.
Yeah.
All the grey.
All the shades of grey.
Grey.
All 50 shades of grey.
Nick will throw in a bit extra. And we do have a few that cater to, I guess, the warmer tones. So like your beiges, tans, that sort of colours. and then black and white, right?
Okay.
Yep.
Just for the listeners, white is a colour that is a little bit more translucent than any other colour. So typically for whites, if the customer just wants a plain white floor, we need to make sure that we allow for an additional 1 or 2 coats to get that solid white on the floor.
Right.
Okay, cool.
And we've had customers that want a white floor. I don't know why, but they
Hospital.
do. And then in terms of our decorative finishes, so whether it's a flake, quartz, we have a fairly decent range. So what we've tried to do is keep it broad enough that there's something for 90% of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think currently we have roughly about 12 colours in our decorative flake and about 9 or 10 in our decorative quartz.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why we haven't gone, because we could have easily gone a lot more than that in terms of options, is that we stock really well. So those 12 or 9 colours, we keep really healthy stocks of. And, touch wood to this day, we've been doing work for a little while now. We've not had anything out of stock. I remember building our first house and I was in Europe and I get a call from the builder and I'd like triple check before I left because I knew I was away for a month. They're like, yeah, the bench top you want, we don't have that. And
Yeah.
And that's
the bench
worst
tops,
thing.
tiles as well,
Yeah.
people having to do restations. And that's the biggest thing is like, and it was something that when we were doing the agreements, we were like, if you're going to present me this, this has to be available for the next 12 to 18 months.
Correct.
Because the way we've structured it with the build is, yes, it's incorporated into the build for clients that pay for it, but at the same time, it's not going to be poured immediately. Obviously, we poured the garage slabs a bit later during construction, and we don't want people going in and potentially damaging this once you guys have done your job, even though you guys do it so fucking quickly. So we're pushing the structure of you guys coming in right towards the end of the build. And like a lot of people who have actually listened to us, you've got to do all your pre-construction, which takes, between 3 to 6 months, then get through most of the construction as well. So, when we were organizing, we had to try and project, are you going to have that stock for the next 12 to 18 months? And I'm really, it's awesome to see a business like yours actually go, you know what, rather than trying to, be a yes man for everyone with 70,000 fucking colors, let's keep it simple, but keep the stock so then we can, accommodate with other businesses for these type of requirements, which is awesome.
Yeah, we do that, but also added onto that, and going back to the point I made earlier of, your space in our warehouse for, so as soon as we receive notification from you, and it might be 12 months away, that stock and those colours get set aside and allocated for you straight away so that there's no chance of it. And the good thing with that is if for any reason that we're running low on stock or that colour, it gives us time to make sure that we've ordered more. So for a lot of our products, we order direct from the manufacturer, which means we skip the middleman.
Yes.
But 2, there's very little chance of any of those, discontinuing, right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, and next question.
I've actually got one.
We've covered so many.
Yeah, I've actually got one about the resin itself. You guys actually have your own chemists that actually work towards the R&D.
Yeah.
You guys make it here in Australia, or is it imported?
So there's a because we carry a good range of resins. What we've done over the years is some of it we manufacture ourselves.
Yep.
And we have chemists and R&D department that QC the products essentially.
Yeah, perfect.
And then at the same time simultaneously we use some reputable manufacturers within Australia as well, that are, well known in the resin industry.
Yep.
What that gives us is access to make sure that no matter what, we've always got a really good resin or range of resins on board. So in the past, where we've only relied on either ourselves or a manufacturer, if something small happens, say if a train gets derailed from over east to WA, and we're stuffed, right?
Fine. Yeah.
Or, as we went through COVID, there was a lot of shortage of raw materials, and some of our manufacturers couldn't keep up with the demand. That's where having our own products comes into play. We go, well, no worries, we'll wait for that till that comes in, but at least we've got these here. And essentially our guys in the lab and our R&D team make sure that the products that we're manufacturing meet, if not exceed, what we're buying from our manufacturers.
Yeah, beauty.
perfect.
Yeah.
And that's a big one. It's like quality control, making sure that those products are there, or if not better,
Correct.
not subpar, because then that will affect you guys with your warranties and
Yeah,
everything.
definitely.
And a couple of minutes ago, you said, you do driveways and inside the home. Do you guys do any flooring outside of the home, like driveways or frescoes, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So I can't think. I'm trying to think of somewhere where we don't coat or finish floors on, but driveway. So we do a lot of non-slip floor finishes for a lot of our commercial customers. So whether it be wet areas, whether it be commercial kitchens. So driveways is an easy one for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true.
Obviously, going through winter, it's harder for us to finish anything outside because of the weather.
Yep.
And internal areas, we offer a fair few finishes other than the decorative flake finishes that you guys use.
Yep.
We mechanically polish concrete as well, which is taken off in the last couple of years a lot for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome.
So we also do micro cements where, say, a customer's just had a standard slab poured and they're not really sure what they're going to get by just polishing that slab.
Yes.
We can offer finishes to go over the top of it that emulate polished concrete to an
Right.
extent. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
sick. And
Is that one for us to discuss?
Yeah. After this episode.
Yeah.
I think
Watch
there was,
this space.
Yeah, there was actually one with one of our clients. It was their parents. They did their al fresco.
Yeah.
And obviously they use the same like resins that we obviously use in the garages, like with our partnership, and
Yeah.
that's because of all the UV stabilizers you guys put into it. Because I would assume that's the biggest part that gets smashed by the
Yeah.
sun and the weather.
Yeah.
So for you guys to be able to offer that even in al frescos and driveways, like, you gotta be pretty fucking confident with your product, man. Like, fucking
And the
hell.
thing is, like, we're like, I'm very big, and we're very big on our branding and our name and making sure that whatever we put down stays down.
Yeah.
You know, our approach to a customer is, I really don't want to see you again once we finish this unless you're giving us more work, right?
Yes.
So because of that, like, for some projects, we'll even do our own testing on site. So whether it's called a pull-off test, where you test the adhesion of what we've put down to the concrete substrate.
Right.
And at what point that fails, right? So we make sure that we're testing everything that we put down, that it exceeds what we expect the product to do
Yeah,
or
good.
the floor to do.
Yep.
And because of that, we can tackle anything indoors, outdoors, verticals, with some peace of mind. Yeah, we're not sitting there going, I hope this floor doesn't fail,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the other way. It's like, what can we try
Yeah.
and tackle next?
And, going back to one of your earlier questions, you asked, like, what would be the difference between, say, a sole operator or smaller operator and us, is that doing that testing behind the scenes and consistently costs a business money, costs an individual money, right? Where we've gone, the demographic that we want to cater to are customers that just want peace of mind.
Yeah.
Right. So we put our time and effort and money into all this R&D and testing to give customers that peace of mind, and to be able for us to know that we can just offer that to a customer going, yep, no problem. That's an easy one for us.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And you mentioned that polished concrete, something new that you guys are trialing with. What are the current trends that you're seeing? What are the color options and all that kind of stuff? What's in style?
So we're finding we've actually been polishing concrete for a long time, but we've not marketed it because we actually wanted to train, we wanted a really strong team, and while we could, we have done, in years previous to now, we have done it effectively. We wanted to make sure we protected the brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we involve, in fact, our entire team in all sorts of training throughout the year, and we cover the costs. We fly, trainers from over east and stuff like that. But the trends, going back to your question, Julia, the trends currently, they went a few years back, it was really heavy stone exposure.
Yes.
And that sort of terrazzo look. And now it's more common for a non-reveal, so almost like a burnished concrete look.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
And that seems to be the trend at the moment. People are actually opting, probably about 5-6 years back, high gloss was like a massive thing. Like everyone wanted a fucking glossy floor, right? Where now people are realizing it's really hard to maintain a high gloss floor.
Yes.
So they're opting for something a little bit lower in sheen. And we even have customers that come to us and ask for a matte finish.
Okay.
What we do most of, whether it's a resin finish or a mechanically polished concrete finish, is a satin finish. And the reason for that is matte can often, in my experience, seem underwhelming when you hand over the job to a customer. They go, have you sealed the floor? Like, is it finished? But a satin at least reflects a little bit of light.
Yes.
And it's easy enough to maintain. The last thing you want to do is come home, take your sweaty work boots off, and leave footprints or paw prints all through your house.
Yeah, dead set. And that's like with walls as well for homes. Like a lot of people are going to a satin finish rather than a matte or a gloss finish, because gloss fucking it's a little bit overpowering, and then the matte is a little bit too dull. So we're seeing a lot of the homes actually come with a satin finish as well, which is cool to see.
And what are some of the misconceptions about resin?
Sure.
Resin floors and companies like yourselves that install it.
Yeah. Good question. Actually, I probably should have read that and prepared a little bit better. Look, common misconceptions are that, and I was like this when I built my first home, right? Like, old mate can do it. Like, surely I'm smart enough to do it myself.
Yep.
And you find out the hard way when it costs you, right? And you sit there going, I've got no one else to fucking blame but myself. So I guess the misconception is that you can it's just easy enough, like painting a wall or, throwing some product down. Even painting a wall is like, if you want to do it properly.
To prep it and all that, fuck that. I will pay a painter day in, day out.
100%.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the misconceptions. And we've had customers that have purchased product from like DIY products, and they've gone, and they ring after it goes wrong, and they go, the product said I needed X amount for my double garage, but I've gone through 3 times that, and going, you're either applying it incorrectly, or a lot of times the DIY products, they essentially give you best case scenario. If you had a perfect floor, you'd only need X amount of product. So the peace of mind with us is that we don't tell you you're going to need more product. We just go, no, we've priced the job, we're going to do the job and get it finished. What was the second part to your question?
That was it. Misconception.
Yeah. It's just a
good question there. With the clients, the people who do the DIY themselves first realize that it's gone wrong, or a little while down the track it starts to bubble and peel, and they give you guys a call. Is that something you guys can fix and put your product over, or scrape back and do? Or
so we...
Why are they fucked?
Yeah, we get it quite often. In fact, like half an hour before coming out here, I had a call from a customer. They tried to reach out to us a little while back, but they'd gotten someone else to come in to do their job, and she literally rang and said, I should have just waited for you guys, but I need you to come, quote, to redo my entire floor. And I was like, what do you mean? In those instances, most of the time we can actually resurface the floor. Process typically is that we grind it back to concrete, remove everything that's on there, because if we go over the top, we're essentially stamping not just our name but our warranty behind it, and we need to feel confident that floor is going to stick. Our floor might stick to your previous floor, but if your previous floor hasn't stuck to the concrete,
it's all going to come off.
It's going to come off anyway. And you're going to point at us because we were the last ones in, right? So we can certainly, in most instances, resurface and rectify issues, but it often means that it's a whole new floor that goes in.
Okay.
Yeah, sweet. So start from scratch and reapply, so then you get the service and the quality of what you're offering.
Correct. It's no different to, if you've got rust on your car or your paint's peeling, and you take it to a panel beater and go, mate, just like chuck some bog in there, sand it back, spray over it. But then the rust is going to keep happening, right?
100%.
You haven't dealt with it.
Yep.
And a good panel beater will go, no, mate, like I'm going to cut it out and start again.
Yep.
And it's going to take a bit longer, going to cost you a bit more, but you're never going to have to worry about it again.
Absolutely. And that's the same thing with the floors.
Yeah.
We also missed a question, but how long does it actually take for you guys to do one of our garages?
Sure. So depending on the size of the garage, anything from about 30 to say 100 square meters, we're typically on site for about 2 days max, and you're walking on the floor usually within a few hours. And then your vehicle's back in typically the next day. So, and all the jobs that we're doing, all the projects that we're doing for you, they're brand new builds, so no one's really driving in and dirtying the new floor.
Yes.
But if you said to us, Ben, we need you in and out in 24 hours, for something that size, we could do it.
Yep.
Especially for, I guess, you guys. We want to make sure that everything is spick and span, even to the point of cleanup, right? So I don't know if you've ever seen, I'm sure you've seen our guys on site, but you know, we've got
clean, man, clean site, which is a big thing. Like we don't want that shit, do you know what I mean, everywhere. And like I've gone, especially when we had a few, the first couple of jobs on site, because you guys did our workshop in Malaga and it was killer. Yeah. And I was like, all right, but I'm there all the time. Do you know what I mean? I was like, let's see what happens when your boys are on site for our clients. And I went there with a fine-tooth comb, and I was checking around the edges, making sure that there's no overspill and shit. Because otherwise, the clients are going to see it, and then, do you know what I mean? It's
a bit average.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was fucking perfect, man. And like, I'm very impressed. And some of our supervisors that obviously have seen the jobs, because everyone at first like, oh, what the fuck is this? You know, do we really want to be doing this? And they've all come back going, man, can't fault you guys. Do you know what I mean? From you're in, you're out, clean site, no issues, happy days. Yeah. We can't ask for anything better than that.
No, and the thing is, like, you know, Ali, who's our ops manager, who trains most of our team, instills that into the guys to make sure that they're essentially fucking spotless on site. Yeah. And if they're not, they're getting pulled up on it as well, which means that we've got a fairly high standard within our team of an expectation as well, right? Yeah. And that's really important to us, because that reflects the entire business and the entire brand to our clients like yourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And when it comes to choosing, you know, to use you guys for your services, is there anything clients should know before they start, or anything that they should read up on?
Yeah.
There's like before they begin the flooring,
Yeah, there's so much information online that you know, for a lot of businesses in any industry, they almost frown upon clients doing their own homework and research, because there is, you know, from
mixed
black
messages.
to white.
Yeah.
What I like to encourage customers to do is do their own research and then come in and speak to us, and potentially even come in and speak to us and a couple of our competitors, right? And the reason why I'm so comfortable with that is I know that we're transparent about everything that we do. And if we can't deliver something, we'll tell a customer, look, Mrs. Jones, I know you wanted that pink floor with purple highlights, but I don't think we can achieve that for you. But also it gives customers a really good opportunity to view our business operating, even if it is just the admin office or our warehouse team. What else can customers do? So often customers, it's not so much like walking into a tile or a timber shop and you go, I want a black butt floor, or, you know, I want a 600 by 600 porcelain tile that's polished.
Yeah.
What we're doing is we're essentially making your floor on site, right? So we're not bringing a finished product in and just installing it. We're bringing unfinished products in and finishing it in situ. So if a customer comes to us and goes, what do you have? I often go, what do you want? So Pinterest is really good. Instagram's really good. If you've got ideas on what you want, say for example, it's internal and they've seen this concrete look in a magazine somewhere. I go, look, send us those photos or those images, and we'll go whether we can or can't deliver it. Typically, if we've got a customer like that and they want something quite bespoke or unique, we'll go, no problem. Leave it with us for, you know, a week. We'll actually make some samples for you to then give back and go, like, is that what you want, or is that what you want?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Which is what we had, like, with some of the mixes that we were doing. You know, we wanted some samples. So then, because, you know, telling a client, you're going to have a white base with this white and black, you know, flake, it's all cool. But, like, until you see it actually sprayed on a couple, you know, sizes to actually go, okay, look, it's going to change with a fucking 4, 6, 10 car garage. But at least I know what I'm actually looking at. And, like, a lot of us need to see something physical, you know. So that definitely does help, because we've got that as well with our clients. Something that I don't know if you guys still do it and is metallic.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
you are still doing them?
We still do. Yeah. So the pearl and metallic finishes are very unique, very bespoke. Yeah. You know, we had a customer, I can't remember whether it was last year or the year before, had a really nice house in Atterdale, massive garage. Right? This thing was like it was a house in itself
Yeah.
underneath his mansion.
Those undercrofts, big undercrofts,
had a fucking elevator in his house. Anyway.
Tell me you're bougie without telling me you're bougie.
Sorry, I'm going to have to sell my wife's car because she wanted an Audi this week. And she did get the Audi. So he essentially came to us and said, like, I want a red floor. And I was like, yeah, what kind of red? He goes, Shiraz red. I was like, why Shiraz red? He goes, because I've got a wine cellar that I want to be able to wank factor with my friends and go, I've got a Shiraz red floor in my wine cellar, right?
Okay.
And so we made a heap of different samples for him and essentially blended a few different pigments for his metallic floor.
Yep.
And he said, that's the one I want. And I'm glad that I wrote down what the ratio was. And we replicated that floor for him. Yeah.
That is fucking sick.
Yeah, it's very time consuming and uses a lot of materials. So I guess it's not necessarily targeted towards everyone that just wants their floors done in their garage or internal areas of their home. Someone that really wants something really unique and bespoke, right?
Yeah.
And even down to like the patterns and the swirls that you see in the floor. So when we're putting down a metallic floor, typically we'll have one person creating the patterns, because what can happen is that, you know, a short guy like me has a smaller spread pattern than maybe a 6 foot applicator who's got a wider spread pattern.
Yes.
And what you don't want to see is like nice big spans over there and then like short stumpy spans over here, right? So whoever's laying off or creating those swirls in the floor, we keep it to one applicator, and that way it stays consistent through the entire project.
Yeah. But it's also like, you know, for some of our clients out there, obviously we have our standard, you know, that we do during the build.
Yeah.
But that we do have a lot of people that obviously inquire with us going, hey, like, you know, I've got a fucking 10-car garage, or I've got this and this. I want this to be a showpiece. Like we're doing a few actual showrooms for homes, like the garage. So if they want something, at least, you know, potentially they could reach out to you guys and go, look, this is what it is. You can give them some price and they go, oh, fuck, it's a bit more expensive. Well, this is what it costs for the materials. Yeah. So if you're happy, cool. If not, no qualms.
Yeah.
Go back to something else.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's cool to say because, it's something definitely, you know, it's bespoke, but like, so are we with what I'll do with our, you know, niche market. It's everyone's doing garages now, but at least it's, you know, it's not something that you have to be worried about having that conversation. You can just have it and go, I want this. Yeah. Cool. This is what it's going to be. Maybe that's not going to work for me, but here's option B, C, and D.
Yeah. We actually had a customer a few years back, probably about 3 years back, who wanted to turn their garage into like a life-size chessboard, but they wanted the white to be pearl white and then the black to be the metallic black, right? And it's fucking killer, but at like a standard 2-car garage, it took us about 12 days to finish it because of all like how perfect our lines had to be and no bleed between the white and the black, but
that would have been so hard to do.
But the customer wanted it, and they understood that it was going to take that long. But that's what they wanted. Yes. So they paid for it, right?
Yeah. That's fucking sick.
And I mean, it's no secret. It's obviously more expensive to do the flooring through you guys than doing it yourself. And not everyone has the budget right now to spend.
Yeah.
Is there any advice that you could give clients who don't have the budget at the moment on what they can do?
Sure. There probably is a lot more than what I can think of now, but the way I explain it to customers, I guess, like I used to read and watch a lot of some really good salespeople I guess to try and teach myself, right? And the easiest way to do it is to go, what's the lifespan? How long am I going to be here? Or how long am I going to have this asset? And let's say hypothetically it's 7 years, and you go, okay, well, how much am I willing to invest per year to make sure that at the 7-year mark, I'm still really happy with this asset and I've protected it, right? So it's not just to do with your floors, it's everything else that goes into your home. And then break it down that way. Because often, let's say, for example, you know, internal floor of the house, customer gets a quote from us to do a nice metallic floor for 20 grand, and they've gone somewhere and gotten another type of flooring, and it's sitting at 10 grand, but that $10,000 floor might look good or only last for about 3 or 4 years, but this is the customer's forever home, and they don't want to ever touch their floor again. They just want this really cool, funky floor that's going to last that they don't have to think about, right?
Yeah.
So you break it down that way and you go, at the same time, there's instances where a customer goes, this is an investment property, I'm only going to have it for 2 or 3 years, and flip it and go, don't waste your money putting down this like $10,000 or $20,000 floor.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? So we try and cater to whatever the customer wants. We don't necessarily have a customer come in and go, we'll sell to everyone.
Yeah.
And I guess to some extent that's my own view and philosophy, is to make sure that we look after customers, even if we're not winning their work or earning their business, right? Is to make sure that we give them the best advice we can possibly give, being the professionals in our field.
Yeah, perfect.
And from, if memory serves me right, we've got a standard finish, a partial flake, and a full flake option for our clients.
Yeah.
Is there a price difference between them?
There is, yes. So the reason for the price difference between them is the amount of material that we use, and also how much labour we need to account for, right? So some finishes will require more time or more applicators to get that finish, that particular finish, and that's often the reason between the differences in price, is how much material we're using and how much time we're spending.
Okay,
because
cool.
like for a base coat, it's just diamond grinder back and then base coat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then partial is those
Slightly
two
more
pieces,
expensive.
and then a little bit more, and then number 3, which
It's
is
a
the
little bit
full
more
flake,
expensive.
is going to be a bit more. That's a lot more material, a lot more. It's more labor intensive.
I like to
because you
say
have
it's
to
a
do it
bigger
all.
investment rather than it's more expensive.
So for the clients who are looking to save a little bit more money, instead of
Sure.
going for a full flake, they could go for a partial flake or just the standard.
Even
even
just a base coat is
just a
more than fine.
2-coat system where it's a solid colour. They're protecting their floor. If they've got spills, and the cars, I used to have a rotary, and all the thing just leaked oil all the time, right?
Yeah.
They're protecting their floor there, so they're not having to worry about stains and things like that. We've had customers where they've asked us, we work with, I think it wasn't ethanol, it was methanol.
Yeah.
One of those like speedway carts.
Yeah.
And he goes like, how does this go with that? Because I've had someone else coat an area and it failed within like 2 or 3 months, and I couldn't give him an honest answer because we'd never tested it, right? I said to him, I said, look, here's a sample. Can I just leave this with you for a week, and you dip it, dunk it, do whatever you want with it for a week, and then if it still holds up and you still want to use us and our products, then let us know. And he came back to us. He goes, mate, like I dunked it into some methanol for the entire week and nothing happened to it. And on this particular system that we had given him. And so we did his floor for him, and he's not had an issue since.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Or even ours, I've got all of our cars, like the Falcon and the 32, they run on E85 and they spit fuel everywhere. No stains, no nothing, man. Like anything that comes in, I just wipe it off.
Yeah.
Oils, brake fluid.
Yeah.
We haven't had any issues on any of that. I think the only thing I've been telling clients is when you do these floors, don't do a skid.
Yeah.
Like, don't ruin it. But do you know what I mean?
We're still waiting, and we've talked about this briefly. We want to do a skid test to see at what point it fails.
I'm happy to volunteer the Falcon when that time comes, but until then...
Which of our clients are volunteering as tribute?
Yeah, fuck man. Just choose the type of car that you want, and I'm sure one of our clients can accommodate.
Sure.
From burnout cars, drift cars, street cars, rotaries, everything in between.
And lucky last question from me is, what do you predict for the future?
It's a really good question.
Future trends?
But in what sense are you talking? Like, are you talking about I can't talk
today.
All right, relax.
It's been a long week, guys.
Are we talking in regards to what in the future about floor coverings, or about what in the industry that they're in, or what are you talking about? Because you've made it very general.
Well, yeah, it's a general question for a general direction, but what do you predict for the future for Hawk, for the industry, for colour trends, whatever you prefer?
Sure. So colour trends is one that evolves with, it's not, flooring isn't not subject to any other industry, right? Like we follow trends, or the flooring industry follows trends based on a lot of, architecture, particularly, what's being marketed. Like, you go back 15, 20 years ago, greys were never seen in a house.
No.
Right? And now, they're everywhere. And so in terms of trends, it's really hard to predict. But what we do is, and one of the benefits of having our own in-house marketing team is that they can keep up with trends. You know, our teams even utilize AI to see what we can come up with in terms of how things can look and look different. And trends, when they first come about, always find that people often reject them, right?
Yeah.
And then they start to warm up and they go, yeah, actually, that's not bad.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to be different. And then everyone jumps on the bandwagon. So trends are a really hard one to predict, but we certainly spend enough time seeing what's on the market, what's coming out in Europe, in the US, and what other countries are doing. Because Australia, especially Western Australia, we're often quite far behind in terms of trends, which you guys would know. In terms of where the business is going, where, like I mentioned before, we really want to upskill guys in our own industry, not just from an applicator's perspective or putting products down, but also potentially running their own business, potentially, you know, marketing, like how do we tackle things in there? They're things that we really want to share with the industry, because there's probably not enough information or access to information for these younger guys or like startups and things like that. In terms of what else might be coming up or predictions for the industry, I've always found every sort of 5 to 7 years, there's like a bit of a cycle. So essentially the guys that don't belong get sifted out, and then the guys that do belong stay in the industry and kind of, you know, weather through the storms. And it gives opportunity for new guys and new teams and new businesses to start up, which I actually encourage. I think, you know, people often shy away from competition. I actually think it's really good for our industry and healthy for our industry, rather than having monopolies play, you know, like we get all the work no matter what because we've been around for so long, or like how expansive we are. I think it's really healthy for our future, because Ben might not be here forever, right? Like I might get hit by a car or something. But what it means is that there's new guys that are coming into the industry and keeping it fresh, keeping it competitive as well. And to some extent, if they're running their own business, that it is a profitable business, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sick.
Beauty. Any questions before or anything that you want to add?
Probably
Ben,
just
before?
touch over, because I think the biggest one really is just all these is the comparisons on the products, the workmanship versus obviously the DIYs, and I think we've explained that, but could we just get like a 30-second summary of why businesses like yourselves are established businesses, the big, you know, like the 5 most, you know, your top 5 most reasons why someone should go through Hawk versus doing it themselves.
In other words, Nick wants an elevator pitch.
I want an elevator pitch.
Sure.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Okay.
Go for it.
I don't know if I can come up with 5, but I'll try.
Okay.
So
1, 2, fuck. Doesn't matter. 20.
One of the reasons is the time spent into researching, like R&D into our products, QCing our products, making sure that they're not just imports that we got at a bargain, right? They weren't some clearance rack stuff that we bought in from overseas. Yep. We actually use a lot of these reputable manufacturers and manufacturing plants and things like that. So you're getting, essentially, we're chasing the best products on the market, right?
Yep.
That's one reason. The second reason is the way our business is structured. So our teams on site, I mentioned before, they're not subcontractors, and there's nothing wrong with subcontractors, right? But there are advantages and disadvantages to that. For us, we train, and it costs us more to have a full-time team, you know, of 8 to 10 or 12 guys full-time.
Yes.
But it means that we can provide you guys, the customers, with peace of mind, knowing that we train them in-house. Some guys that we hire come with a skill set already that we just build on, right? So these are guys that are experienced. And sure, we have young guys too that are inexperienced, but they learn and are trained from our more experienced team.
Yes.
And that's another advantage, is that if something happens, we've got a skill team at our beck and call to go, guys, here's where you are tomorrow. Be there at 7 o'clock.
And rectify it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
the other thing is the way our business is structured, right? We're really blessed in the sense that we do have individual departments within the and functions within the business. So we've got an admin team, we've got a sales team, we've got an ops team, warehouse team, and then our team on site, right?
Yes.
And all of these work cohesively to make sure that we deliver what you want us to deliver. And that's one of the benefits with working with us. The other thing for us that benefits us actually is having our own marketing team. So it consists of web developers. We've got Connor here, who's our videographer and photographer. We've got a video editor. So any content that you want us to capture and then give back to you, we've got the ability to do that. But it also means that anything that we post online is not staged. It's just done on site.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then you get to deal with me. That's probably the best.
That's literally the only reason why I'm with Hawk is because of you. It's a little bromanship. It's a little broship.
I just need that on a reference level.
Yeah. Say less. What about in terms of the product? Obviously, we have the polyaspartic that we use for our garages with our clients. Versus, a lot of the DIY stuff that's available on the market. Obviously, the very small amount that I know is you've got more water-based, soluble, epoxies, which is what's normally common on the market, versus something that's a bit more, obviously, because the stuff that you guys have is also used in commercial and industrial. Is that the same type of stuff, or is it a little bit more complicated, like a bit more sturdier?
Probably a fair bit, and we can spend hours talking about it, but I won't. So a lot of our products that we use have very high solids content, which means very low VOCs, right? Okay. And the reason why we've sort of geared a lot of our products down that path is the health impacts, not just on our customers, but also on our application team, right? They're the guys that are going to be putting it down for the next 5 to 10 years, and we hope that they'll be working for us.
Yes.
And so we want to make sure that their health isn't impacted. Also, the more solvents you have in products, typically you lose a little bit of abrasion resistance, strength, tensile strength in the product. So we're trying to make sure that we're delivering the best possible product with as minimal health impacts to yourselves and our team. Like we send our team to, for medicals throughout the year, respiratory checks and things like that to make sure that their health isn't on a decline, because we really value our team.
Yeah, killer.
But certainly the products that we use, there are probably 2 or 3 ranges of products that we use commercially that have high solvent content, and there's a reason for that. Is because the product does what it's designed to do for a very specific purpose.
Yeah, cool.
But 9 times out of 10, they're low VOCs, high solids, and they're designed to protect you, our applicators, and also function and perform a lot better than products that have high solvents in them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
it's just because there are a lot, I remember we've had some questions when we've posted some of the reels, and clients have asked about, if it releases fumes and all that stuff, which is awesome to hear directly from you, focusing on specific type of actual material and doing that R&D, you can actually provide those answers and go, it's all G.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
we've got test certificates for everything, or any commercial job that we're on, we have to give them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they're not just something that fell off the back of a truck and we go, put this down there today, guys.
Yeah, should be right.
Yeah, that's it.
Is there anything you would like to add before we start plugging?
No, I think we've covered. I think we've covered most things. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Ben, for coming.
Thanks for having me
to the pod and having a chat to us.
Yeah,
fucking legend.
Yeah, let's plug. So you can find Hawk on Google by googling Hawk Concrete Floor Coatings.
Yep.
You can visit their website, which is www.hawkconcretefloorcoatings.com.au. You can check out their Instagram, which is Hawk Concrete Floor Coatings. Facebook, which is Hawk Concrete Floor Coatings. Oh my goodness, that's such a mouthful. Or they can visit your showroom. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Which is Unit 1 and number 11 Coucher Place in Belmont. I'll put that in the show notes below. Sure. And I think you have a TikTok as well.
You guys have a TikTok now too.
Yeah.
Connor's actually in charge of our TikTok.
Which is Hawk_CFC.
Yeah.
Beauty. And let's plug Mr. Enthusiast.
Yep,
You can
sweet.
find us on
Insta, Facebook, TikTok, Google, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And our website.
Yes, and our website.
Yes.
If you guys can leave a rating or a review, that would be fantastic. It really helps us in the back end.
Let us know if there's any other questions you guys want us to bring Ben back over and answer as well. Hopefully that gives everyone a lot more of an insight about resin flooring, about obviously our partnership with Hawk Flooring, but also for a lot of people thinking, I can just, get it done myself. Like there are some big differences in the two. You pay for the differences in the labor and all that, but hopefully it just gives a bit more insight, which is what we're all about.
Yeah.
Because it's everyone's saying like, who the fuck is Hawk and shit? Like we tell you guys and everything. It's like, well, here they are.
Yeah.
Exhibit A.
Mm.
The good looking rooster.
Oh yes, the good looking rooster. And just remember, guys,
We're not here.
To fuck spiders.
Fuck
bye.
both. See yous.